think it's time to end this. I'm not sure if we have a choice of endings, which I think we do. I'm not really sure what I'm going to pick. I guess I've got a choice of 4, maybe a 5th unseen ending, and obviously the chaos ending we don't have activated currently, which we will go back for later. So I'm not going to pick the gold mask ending. I don't know. There are other reasons besides just liking gold mask or coring to do it. You know, there's a whole litany of reasons, but that does add to it, right? But you know, he did sacrifice himself for it. And the idea of like perfecting the Golden Order, so that it's the opponent to the Destined Dead, is very interesting. Obviously, I don't know if Rani is connected to the Death Prince rune. I feel like she might be. So, because her summon sign, Rani's summon sign was there. So I don't know if this is specifically connected to fear, or if it needs to be used by Rani, and that's my main anxiety here. I have made a copy of my save file. I think I made two or three copies of it. The Dung Eater is quite compelling, not because of him himself, but because of the Omen curse in general, and particularly after I hadn't realised, but Moog and Morgott, the brothers, were the sons of Horalu, or of Godfrey, and they were born with the Omen curse, so maybe they deserve to inherit this world. So, I mean, my immediate reaction is to want to choose between Fear and Rani, but the problem is I don't know if that is the choice. I don't know if they're one and the same thing, because Rani's... half of this rune is from Rani, isn't it? But this is specifically gestated by Fear. So I definitely... if I was to choose between Rani and Fear, I think I would probably choose Fear. Because Rani... I think she's a little bit nefarious, a little bit of a troublemaker. And, you know, the fact that she's an Empyrean makes her a little unlikable. You know? Like Little Miss Snow Princess. You know? And do we really want another Empyrean, like, in charge here? Before we go over there, I'm just going to... Dung Eater's still technically there. Right, I'm just going to run and get their armor sets, because you guys told me that their armor sets were... they don't appear straight away. Oh, every time. No, I've not got a torch. So yeah, those are my thoughts, really. The Destined Dead just kind of feels like it's going to flip everything on its axis, so that does seem quite compelling. Here we go. The Omen Helm. So it is named as an Omen, even though I don't think that from what you guys were saying, that I don't think the Dung Eater is an Omen himself. Let's have a cheeky read of that horrible armor. It's really heavy as well. Malformed helm resembling an omen with its horns cut off. Worn by the Dung Eater, its form is a vision of the landscape of his mind, and of his appearance as he wished to see it. The heart of an omen without the body to match. Could there be any crueler existence? Why does it matter then, if the curse claims it all? Yeah, it is quite compelling, this stuff about the omen, because they are, you know, they're forgotten about, and it could happen, seemingly it can happen to anybody. If it can happen to the sons of Godfrey, and they're kind of cast out, and, you know, marginalized almost, and there's something kind of not vengeful, but like almost like justifiable about allowing them to inherit the world. It's just the Dung Eater himself is so vile. Worn by the Dung Eater, the heavy, sun-shaped medallion represents both the guidance he once saw and the ring to which it will one day lead. The ring. Okay. No, they've all got different ones. Malformed gauntlets worn by the Dung Eater. Their form is a vision of the landscape of his mind and of his appearance as he wished to see it. The heart of an omen without the body to match. Could they? Oh. It was the same. Sorry, I thought it was different. Interesting. Yeah, it's very compelling, I must say, in some bizarre way. Now, what was the quickest way? I think it's from here. But, like, I just can't kind of escape the worry that the Dung Eater will have had. We didn't come in this way, did we? That there's some sort of twist to it that makes it a lot more nefarious than I'm giving it credit for. You know, it's not like a rise of the like dishevelled omen kin. It might just be more of like akin to the chaos stuff. So we'll just go and get gold masks stuff, because that might give us some more information that will help us, or just inform what we're doing. There will likely be some cuts if I do all the endings in one video. Like I said, there might not be multiple endings. I'm making a bit of a presumption, but it does seem like there will be. Gostox! But you know, it might be different. We got some interesting lore from the Dung Eater. Let's see what we get from Sunbro from Gold Mask. I imagine it'll just be the mask. Oh, it might be his loins. Yeah, rags, bracelets, wrist wraps. No mask! Oh. How dare he? Worn rags that just barely cover the body. Lord Gold Mask felt no draw to the vain excesses of clothing. What use is finery to one who seeks greater brilliance? Yeah, just walk around naked. He's living the dream. Minimal adornments made by the Lord Gold Mask's disciples. Oh, I'm sorry, bracelets made in the image of Erd tree branches. Those disciples have long since left him. And where are the underpants? Waist wraps made in the image of Erd tree bracelets. Beautiful! Ugh. Resplendent gold, please. Okay, that didn't give us as much as the dung eater stuff. Off to Fractured America. Right, so Rani's summon sign is here. So I can obviously not summon Rani. It's just... Oh, that's like the right side of her body, isn't it? I guess it was like the memory of Radigan that inhabited it. Is that the head? Wow. So yeah, that's my issue here. Is I'm not sure if Rani and Fia are connected, but I'm going to operate under the presumption that they're not. And if I do have a choice, then I'm going to choose Fia. Alright, so just because I've just picked up a few items, I'm actually just going to quickly jump out and make copies of the... I don't know how many endings we might be in store for here. I'm going to presume that there's at least 5, so I'm going to have to make 5 copies in order to do this multiple times, I think. Alright, I'll be back in a second. Alright guys, I've made like... Well, I've got 6 copies of the same save file, so hopefully that's enough. My decision, as I've been explaining, I'm going to try and choose, if I can, choose Fia. So I'm not going to summon Rani right now, just in case that like cancels something out. So I'm going to see what happens. Right. Mend the Elden Ring. Use Mending Rune of Perfect Order. Use Mending Rune of the Death Prince. Or use Mending Rune of the Fell Curse. Or we could just mend the ring, I guess, and just become Elden Lord. I guess that's like the standard one. Or we let Rani come and I guess she'll mend the ring and replace Marika. Yeah, destined death, man. Let's just try and just read all the fear stuff. She was exiled from her home. Fabric is as soft as silk. Yeah. Don't tell me anything. Got some other Death Prince stuff in here. Right? I don't know what to do, man. I'm gonna choose Fear. I can't really explain why, but I think they're all quite compelling.
The fallen leaves tell a story of how a Tarnished became Elden Lord. In our home, across the fog, the lands between. Our seed will look back upon us and recall the age of the Duskborn.
Okay. Sorry I didn't take the helmet off. I'll take the helmet off for the other endings. Alright. I was hoping for a bit more of an ending cutscene there. Fine. Just sat on the throne. The Duskborn. I guess we've had everything kind of explained anyway, but... Interesting. If you do not start over now, you can choose to begin Journey 2 later at the Table of Lost Grace in the Round Table Hall. No, don't start now. So we are now Elden Lords. Let's just go there and see if we can do anything else. I don't think we'll be able to. Oh. No, we can't go back. Okay. The Duskborn. So I guess the endings aren't going to have much to them then. And that's locked off. Okay. So I'll try and give my thoughts on the game as a whole, but I think it would be cool to see all the other endings. Considering then I don't think that they seem to have any major cutscene differences. So look, I just made like, well, 1, 2, 3, 4. I've got 5. Is that enough? I think that's enough. This is the save at the Forge of the Giants. And there's my sorcery save. Right. 150 goddamn hours. It's been awesome. Alright. So I think it'd be kind of... Wait a sec. Right, so I only need 4 other saves anyway, so... What if I just hit this? Is that going to do anything? Anyway, let's... I'm going to take the helmet off. I don't think that looks too bad. Oh right, have we got, like, bloody eyes? Oh, fair enough. Let's summon Ronnie.
The battle is over, I see. I do solemnly swear to every living being and every living soul. Now cometh the age of the stars. 1,000-year voyage under the wisdom of the moon. Here beginneth the chill night that encompasses all, reaching the great beyond. Into fear, doubt, and loneliness, as the path stretcheth into darkness. Well then, shall we? My fair consort eternal.
Okay, that one had more flavour. Yeah, that was cool. I was just kind of because of the way that Rani spoke to us in the Ainsel River when we were going to Nokron, or no, sorry, to Nokstella. It just felt like she was hiding so many things from us at so many different times. It was a little difficult to fully trust her, but interesting. Right, so we've got 3 more. What should we go for next? I'm gonna leave. No, I can't remember how many saves I made. I'm most interested in seeing the Fell Curse one, to be honest. So this one could get a bit crazy.
The fallen leaves tell a story of how a Tarnished became Elden Lord. In our home, across the fog, the lands between. Our seed will look back upon us and recall the reviled curse that defined our age.
Okay. Oh man. Like I'm getting Mass Effect endings here. Yeah, so not a massive difference. I imagine there won't be a massive difference for the Golden Order one. So I imagine that the how many of these have I got left? Alright, I've got enough to do because there's the Golden Order, and then the Elden Ring, and then there's the Chaos endings. Well, so we've done Fear, Rani, Dung-Eater. I'm guessing that all of the rest of these will be variations on that. Rani, so I think Rani's and the Chaos, the Shibriri ending will be completely different. So I'm just going to mend the Elden Ring this time.
The fallen leaves tell a story of how a Tarnished became Elden Lord. In our home, across the fog, the lands between. Our seed will look back upon us and recall an age of fracture.
An Age of Fracture. Fractured Elden Ring, right? Okay. Okay, I'm looking forward to seeing the Chaos ending now. I can't imagine that the Gold Mask ending is going to be massively different. It's just going to be more gold. The Golden Order restored. It's nice seeing my character's face, I guess, because I just walk into a lot of these boss fights when there's a cutscene in full armor most of the time. I don't remember to take the stuff off because you don't really know which stuff is going to have a cutscene in. Perfect order, please.
fallen leaves tell a story of how a Tarnished became Elden Lord in our home across the fog, the lands between. Our seed will look back upon us and recall the age of order.
All right then. So I guess depending on how the chaos ending looks, I guess I'll be able to say that there's kind of three main diverging endings. Then, because all of the ones that are I suppose that there are mending rune endings. Are those four are all just kind of slightly different flavors of the same thing. So we're gonna have to do a little bit more for this. We're gonna have to strip off. Go and see the three fingers, because we're going to let chaos take the world. May chaos take the world. Right, let's go talk to Shabriri first. Hopefully he doesn't aggro on us or something for burning the thorns. Shabriri. I love this voice actor, man. I know I've said it like a million times.
Chosen, tarnished, and would-be lord, descend into the depths far below the Erdtree capital. Seek audience with the three fingers and the flame of frenzy.
Just want to hear you say, like, chaos take the world, man.
Burn the Erdtree to the ground and incinerate all that divides and distinguishes.
May chaos take the world. May chaos take the world. My neighbours are going to ring the police on me. Right. I think my neighbour's a terrorist. Right, where am I going? Here we go. Three fingers. Hyeta. May chaos! I don't know what it is, man. It's just that he's got like that. He's just got like that smooth accent. Like I can't be as smooth as that, even though it's not too dissimilar to my accent. I think we're going to need to strip off, but let's not do it in front of Hyeta. Or Irina.
Go to the door ahead. After divesting yourself of your possessions,
Just
it will
oh, right.
surely open, and the three fingers will welcome you. Go to the door. It will surely...
Okay. May chaos take the world. Nothing but golden gloves. This is how we started the game, that's the irony, I suppose. I am sorry, Melina. Oh, look at the eyes. We're Geralt. The Orveth would hate this. Oh, look at that singe. We've got Eyes of Sauron. Ayeta? Let's put some trousers on. It's ridiculous.
The flame of chaos has nestled within you. Could you please rest your hand upon me? Burn me with the flame to make me your maiden. Could you please burn me with... Oh, it burns. My eyes, they're melting.
Oh no!
Thank you. I have touched them. The words of the three fingers. As your maiden, allow me to divine them. All that there is came from the one great. Then came fractures, and births, and souls. But the greater will made a mistake. Torment, despair, affliction, every sin, every curse, every one born of the mistake. And so, what was borrowed must be returned, melted all away with the yellow chaos flame, until all is one again.
Okay, that is kind of the true point of chaos, right? Like, there can be no suffering if there are no people. There can be no sorrow if there's no one there to feel it, right? It's the ultimate cleansing, and I guess that's the point.
Those who gave me grapes howled without words, saying they wished they were never born. Become their lord. Take their torment, despair, their affliction, every sin, every curse, and melt it all away. As the Lord of Chaos, no more fractures. No more birth.
Frenzied flame seal, and a frenzy flame stone. Oh, where's that seal? Still don't recognize the item stuff. Oh, Matt. Why? Oh, bloody hell. Whose bell bearing is that? Oh, Corin. Okay, I guess we just go talk to Shabriri then. I don't know if we need to go to where Marika is for this. This might be something completely different. Oh. Oops. The Ronin set. Oh, don't tell me he's moved. It's a bit chilly out here. Iron Casa of the man who calls himself Shabriri, crafted to imitate the woven straw hats worn in the land of reeds. The man once known as Yura kept a woman in the deepest reaches of his heart. Highly functional and heavily worn. Yeah. There we go. Sorry. Shabriri. I don't know if that. I don't know if we have. Well, he's obviously. He must be dead if his armor's here, but. Let's just go and see if that means there's a way of doing this with the chaos. So. Well, this is my last chance to do another ending. Well, not kind of. Oh, look, you can't. Yeah. The other stuff's all gone because of this. Wow, this armor is sick. Become the Lord of Frenzied Flame. Let it all fall down. With no life, there can be no suffering. Alright, let's get out of this chaos safe. Wow, and that has been Elden Ring, guys. Obviously, I'm not going to stay in the main menu because the music's insanely loud. Which one would I like the most? Probably the Rani one, to be fair. So let's go there. Let's find a nice little spot, and then I'll try and summarise my thoughts about the game. I'm not going to do a post... I don't know if I'm going to do a post-game chat for this, just because... I'll explain shortly. What was my favourite spot? What was the nicest view? Not Caelid. And the music's horrible in Caelid as well. Not Mount Gelmir, not Lindell, not the Altus Plateau. It's probably somewhere around here. It was the nicest place. Yeah, let's head to the Forge. Some pretty next level views, right? Wow, yeah, and that has been Elden Ring, guys. What an unbelievable journey, unforgettable journey. 150 hours. I think I've done more or less everything. There might be more endings than that. There might have been other stuff, but I don't think so. Obviously, the stuff, I think I would say the stuff that I more or less found by myself would have been... Obviously, there's the normal ending, then I think I got Rani and Fia's ending by myself. And the Chaos ending. So I think it was just Gold Mask and the Dung Eaters that you guys just gave me the tips with, so I'm not pretending to have found all that myself on a first time run. I think I got Rani and Fia without much help. It would have been nice for there to be a bit more of a heavy difference between all the endings. I mean, it's not like they were all, you know, presented quite differently, but those 4 endings that centered on giving a particular mending rune or just mending the Elden Ring with Marika were all pretty much just the same with a different like weather effect, right? But that's fine. But yeah, this experience overall, I find it a little bit difficult to summarize this experience because, as I've said previously, you know, I've played all the games in this current FromSoftware series, except for the first one, which being Demon's Souls. I know that there's prior stuff, you know, Kingsfield and all that stuff from like the early days, but in terms of the last however long, 15 years of them doing this series, and you know, I always feel like when I talk about some of these games, a lot of my criticisms tend to come out, but it's just I'll preface what I think about this game with the statement that I love these games. I've played all of them all the way through, and at no point during any of them did I get bored or want to stop or lose interest or, you know, get so frustrated that I wanted to give up. Like, they have a very unique formula, and I think that any criticism that I ever have about them is just because I've played them all, and I'd like to see some more innovations, but at the same time, like, these games just hit a certain brain cell for me and for millions of other people that they're just so enjoyable. So even though the plot of most of these games is very similar, very formulaic, you know, a world that's falling apart that you have to kind of determine the fate of. It's been the same in in every single one. And that formula, unfortunately, didn't really change here. But it's still a lot of fun trying to navigate the loosely connected threads and learning all the lore. I was a little bit hopeful of it being a bit more different in this, you know, because they got Martin. Is it George R.R. Martin? I always forget the initials. To do a lot of the background lore for it, but they kept the kind of. It's not the plot per se. It's like it is the plot. The kind of the skeleton of the plot is very similar, and the way that all the quests turn out, and what I was hoping for coming in was that they were gonna do what they did. Like, one of the reasons I really liked Sekiro is that they took a bit more of a personal approach to a lot of the storylines and the quest arcs. And you know, it felt a bit more crafted. It felt like there were more significant cutscenes. We had a voiced protagonist and everything, and I was kind of, and I wasn't hoping for all of that in this, but I was hoping that some of that would have been in here, to utilize all this new lore that they've created, that having such like a heavyweight writer, pardon the pun, sorry George, involved in this. I just would have wanted Miyazaki to maybe collaborate a little bit more on certain aspects, but ultimately what they've created here is like the apex version of a Dark Souls game, right? It's open world, there's natural exploration, there's incredible variety in gameplay, in weapons, in builds, and it's probably staggering to imagine the variety of ways that you can play this game. So that really makes it like a true RPG in like a gameplay sense. Like, there's no wrong way to play this game for the most part, as long as you're investing enough points in your health and your stamina. Then the rest you can just kind of do what you want and craft a journey through the world in terms of, you know, how you're dealing with the enemies and the combat that you want. You guys have been telling me about all your combo builds you've been doing, and yeah, this is like the ultimate version of a Dark Souls game. And you know, the major innovations, I suppose, with this come from the open world side of things, and the open world is a truly open world. You can go from back to front pretty much as quick as you want if you want to, and then they have the more tight levels in the castles, in the dungeons, in the forts, in the caves, wherever, in the tunnels, scattered everywhere. I'm sure that there were quite a few that I didn't find, and getting to grips with the map was really fun. I think that the gaming industry in general has been taking a lot of big steps to make open worlds feel more organic to explore and to make them feel big again, right? I think that there was definitely a period in the previous decade, you know, in that kind of open world fever where everything got checkpointed, and you know, games like this, games like Ghosts of Tsushima, that just let you navigate the world just by actually looking at it, which is what you want, right? Not by looking at a bunch of markers on the screen. And it's a big success in the way it does that. You know, looking for landmarks. I guess my only criticism in terms of exploration would be the fast travel system. It's something that I've never particularly liked in these games, because I liked the way it was in Dark Souls 1, because I don't mind there being fast travel, but I feel like it should be something you have to unlock at a certain point in the game, or at a certain point in each area. You should need to do something that unlocks fast travel. Because being able to fast travel from the start, because fast travel's been available at every site of grace or bonfire or lantern or whatever in all of these games since Dark Souls 2, I think. And that I think that's one thing that a lot of people really liked about Dark Souls 1. I don't know how you'd implement it in an open world like this. That would be quite difficult, don't get me wrong. But like that feeling of kind of being lost in the world with no escape. I liked it when, you know, like when we got caught in the transporter traps. I liked it when we couldn't fast travel out and we were stuck there. I really enjoyed that. And of course, you can role play, but the options there and the temptation to do that can often get the better of you. But I don't know how you'd implement it in a game this big. But yeah. The game overall is it's just a lot of fun. It was really cool learning about the history of the world, right? And discovering the history. I think that's one thing that's really important, is you can see the history around the place, right? You can, you know, it's you hear about the war here between Radahn and Melania, between the two armies, and you can see the remnants of the battle everywhere, and you know, there's like a real physical, tangible history to everything that reinforces the lore. It's not just written in the books, it's not just stuff that's text, it's all the lore is reflected in the world around you. And the Erd Tree itself is a presence that is almost permanently in the background in some way, shape or form, right? And as something that's worshipped, that's true of so many religions, right? Of things that show up in them. So for it to have this kind of constant presence does make it feel like quite a poignant religious symbol. And so much of the lore reflected that. And yeah, the variety, I think that they've done well to pull this off, considering this is technically like a last-gen game. You know, they've really, you know, it still looks, I think it's probably, I don't know, but I imagine it's running on the same graphics engine as Sekiro and Dark Souls 3. So it would have been nice if this was next-gen, but I understand that wanting to release on the last-gen consoles, there's a massive amount of people, a huge install base that gain access to this on, you know, on PS4 and Xbox One, so and you know, lower-end PCs and stuff. So fair enough. But the game still looks beautiful, right? Style over graphics is, I don't know how you'd phrase it, but you know, graphics, when you have a solid art style and art design, then it's fine, and the graphics in this still look really good. You're kind of at diminishing returns at this point, right? And but yeah, obviously I had quite a lot of performance issues in the game, with the game on PC, which was very frustrating. But FromSoftware do have quite a lot of history with this stuff. They're not a renowned PC developer, but it still sucks. But yeah, I don't really know what to say, man, because I've just enjoyed the game. I've just enjoyed the experience. I enjoy these games. We've been on one hell of a journey, and there's been some amazing boss fights, some breathtaking spectacles, some absolutely iconic soundtracks, boss themes, some moments of like insane difficulty and frustration. I don't know if it's just my experience with these games and stuff, but I think that there was a bit of a discrepancy in difficulty between certain parts of the game. Like, I feel like most of the open world stuff was maybe a little too easy at times. But then there were plenty of challenging boss fights. But I guess my build, I don't know, because being a bit of a tankier build, I've really enjoyed using this style of character, and it's a first for me using this. I've always played through as a dexterity build, and it's just been cool being able to stand toe to toe. I think the one, like, in terms of where this goes, I think this stands on its own, to be honest, compared to most of the other games in this from Miyazaki and FromSoftware. Personally, I don't think I enjoyed the combat more than I enjoyed Sekiro. I think Sekiro felt so precise. I think I don't want to go over the specific details between the games, but the feeling that I had in Sekiro that I've always wanted to have from these games was that because the combat is so important, Sekiro was the only game in all of these series that made me feel like, what's the right word? Like, it made me feel like one of the boss characters, that made me feel like a legend, because I felt like I had all these skills, or such a wide variety of skills in Sekiro to fight the other bosses with, to the point where I felt like I was on their level. Whereas I've always felt like, because this style of combat is a little bit more minimal, you have like a much more basic set of tools to deal with the enemies. And of course you still need to have skill, you need to have perseverance, you need to learn the moves of the enemy and stuff. But in terms of how you deal with those moves, you know, defensively, it's just kind of like dodge, block, parry. Whereas I think the thing that I enjoyed the most in Sekiro was that it was the dance element of it, where it was like there was so much, I do this, you do that, you do that, you do this, I do that, and there were so many variations in that and different ways you could do it. That was one thing that I really enjoyed, and which is why I liked Sekiro the most out of the Miyazaki games or the FromSoftware games. But yeah, I don't know what I'd say my favorite boss fight was. I think honestly, I think Moog. I think Moog. I think Moog. I think I was saying to one of you in the comments, Moog had he felt like the perfect mix of stuff that symbolized the strengths of the combat in the game. You know, he had a bit of everything. He had a big weapon. He could use it as a slow weapon. He could use it quick. He had magic. He had blood magic. He had fire stuff. He could fly. He did area of effect attacks. He did a status effect on you as well. And although obviously I'm not really using a combo build, I think that's one of the biggest strengths of the RPG style of the combat in this game is, you know, having nice variety and being able to do magic, to do melee, to be quick, to be slow, to do area of effect, to strike from a distance. And Moog was kind of like the boss version of that, where he had a bit of everything. Melania was cool, but she was just too quick. She was just so fast. But I enjoyed the struggle of the Melania fight. I personally, I couldn't believe how long it took me. Like, it was so I got so close so many times, and I kept dying on. I died on. You have no idea how much. I mean, I had to sit through all 8 hours of the footage at the end again. Oh, it was ridiculous. But yeah, I enjoyed the final boss. That was a lot of fun. I feel like the story taps into a lot of different cool themes. It has so many different aesthetics that are really awesome. You know, it has the kind of some of the more traditional medieval stuff. It had some of the more cosmic stuff to do with like Astal and the alien stuff, the outer gods, the kind of mystery of the, not the mystery, but not as in it's a mystery, but the allure and the mystery of the two fingers and the greater will and that kind of stuff. Was always really interesting. I really like when they incorporate elements like Furum Azula from the previous ages, and this kind of time compression stuff it just adds a really cool flavor to the fantasy, in my opinion. Like a world collapsing in on itself, and you know, like sort of like how the Ringed City DLC in the Dark Souls 3 just had this cool aura to it, where everything was kind of flipped in a way. It just added this extra layer of fantasy to it all. But yeah, I had a great time in Elden Ring. I hope you guys have enjoyed this playthrough, because I've had a really good time. It's just, you know, I think you can criticize these games for, you know, reusing stuff, but I don't think there's that much of a problem with it, because it just works, right? It's not like they're releasing one of these games every year. In an ideal world, you'd like them to go away and make everything, you know, not reuse animations and all that stuff, but I don't think it really matters. As a veteran, I suppose, of games in this series, I could spot certain things that were maybe reused a touch, but they all fit within the world fine, perfectly well, and I think that's the way you're supposed to reuse stuff, right? It's not like it's a yearly release kind of game. They release one of these games maybe every 3 to 4 years. I mean, Sekiro was 2019, right? So yeah, I'm happy for them to keep making games. I don't know if they can make another medieval style game again, because I don't know where they go from here, because this is, I mean, how do you top this as a Dark Souls style game? I like it. I like them to. I feel like the reuse of stuff is much more easily disguised when they just create a new setting and a new era for stuff, right? Like with Bloodborne, like with this is a brand new setting, a brand new world, brand new lore. Whereas I feel like when you're playing Dark Souls 3, the reuse of stuff starts to grate on you a little bit, because it's still within the same story of Dark Souls 1, so it wears on you a little bit. But it never really got to me at all here, just like, and it didn't in Sekiro, didn't in Bloodborne, because it's just like a new dressing of everything, and it has its own new cool aesthetic. So I don't know where they'd go from here, because I don't really want them to make a sequel to anything. I don't want a sequel to Sekiro. I don't want a Bloodborne sequel. I don't want a sequel to this. I just if they go off and their talented art team just make a cool new world, and if they could do some of the stuff they did in Sekiro story-wise, you know, making it a little bit more cinematic, a little bit more personal, maybe giving a voice to the protagonist, that would be cool. You know, so a few more kind of cutscenes, a bit more of a narrative thread. You know, just tweak a few things, and you can, you know, keep all the good stuff. But I think that I would just like to see them evolve. Not completely change. I'd just like to see them evolve the storytelling a little bit, right? Not every character has to end up just dead. Right? Like, not everyone has to turn into a giant ball of stone heads, like Selin. Not everyone has to end up like Bok, transformed into a speechless husk. I mean, God, that broke my heart. But yeah, I know I've forgotten to say a lot, but I didn't want to go over this with a fine-tooth comb. I just wanted to express my general feeling about the game, because you've heard my thoughts on the game all the way through. So I've really enjoyed it. The innovations they've made in terms of the open world have been fantastic. The huge mass of weapons and armor that are available is staggering, right? I mean, all of these weapons, I've got some in my stash, each one with different move sets, different Ashes of War. I know some of them they don't all have different move sets, but they've got slight variations, right? And that's what's so cool. I imagine, I mean, I don't know if it's a bad, it is a little bit of a bad thing, but you know how I played offline. That is like an important thing to bring up, I suppose, is that is a significant element of these games that I suppose I can indulge in now a bit more, is the PvP and the co-op stuff, which you know, which makes these games kind of true RPGs in the sense of you can just play them however you want. You can play them on your own, you can play them with friends, you can play it against friends, you can kind of choose how you want to ease the difficulty a bit. You can use all the summons I've forgotten to mention, and I suppose that's always been the best thing about the Dark Souls games versus Bloodborne or Sekiro, is they let you chip away at the difficulty in whichever way you want, right? You can use status effects, buffs, summons. You can summon other players, you can summon the in-game stuff. You can use ranged attacks. There are items that reward your exploration, that you find items, like the stuff you could use for Moog or Malekith. And yeah, I've always enjoyed that. Like, you know, when people say about, oh, the difficulty in these games, well, particularly with Dark Souls, well, it's like, yeah, okay, but the game has organic ways for you to chip away at the difficulty. You know, you could go away and grind and level up for a couple of hours. And then if you went away and did some grinding and you were 20 levels better off, your defense would be higher, the boss, you know, so there's plenty of organic ways for you to alter the difficulty in these games, I feel. Whereas, you know, I guess in Sekiro and in Bloodborne a little bit. I know Bloodborne had summons, but Bloodborne was pretty punishing at times. Those games don't have as much of that. So that is one big credit you can give to the kind of the Dark Souls and to Elden Ring style games, where there's just the variety you have to just play your own way. Personally, I enjoy the tighter combat experience in Sekiro. It feels a little bit more precise, but you know, this was wonderful as well, and I really enjoyed playing as a strength tanky character. Long live Eorva. Right, guys, I feel like I'm repeating myself now, but I hope you've enjoyed Elden Ring. It's been a massively long experience, longest playthrough I've ever done, just a bit longer than Cyberpunk was, I think. And it was wonderful. The exploration, the struggle, the history and lore of the place, right? You know, I can say, you know, in terms of the narrative stuff, I'd like them to just evolve that a bit, but in terms of like the actual world building and just trying to put things together yourself, it you know, it encourages you to actually learn about the place in like a historical, geographical way that I really enjoy, right? Because, you know, it's escapism, right? And I enjoy that kind of history element to these games where, you know, it's cool thinking about what it's like to be living in in a time of what was once a great place that's now in ruin and decline, right? And all the greatness that was behind you that you'll never get to see. It's just, yeah, that is like always been a really enjoyable element of these games, right? The kind of sadness for your character that you're at the end of all these eras when you're playing through these games, and you know, you get to find out about their pinnacle, about all the people that came before you, and how it all kind of fell apart. But I hope you've enjoyed this playthrough, guys. Thanks for joining me on this journey. I've really enjoyed it. So let me know your thoughts down below. We'll have a nice chat. And just remember, everybody, never trust an uncrate. I'll see you next time.